Good morning, guys. It's 8:30, so I just dropped off Elizabeth at school, and I'm making this video after I dropped her off, which kind of somewhat brings us into the subject of today's episode. A bit more reflective, a bit more somber, and you'll understand why during the message. So yesterday after school, after work, I probably, like you, continue to work sometimes, but yeah, we were hanging out with friends, one of whom is a viewer of the show. We were talking about it, and it came up that I've been shooting videos, sometimes not these last episodes, I don't think, but sometimes with Elizabeth in the car. And also it came up, I went to the store, I went to get the flowers that I talked to you about for, I'm not sure if I did mention that, but yeah, I went to get flowers for my wife for our wedding anniversary. I think I had talked to you about getting lunch in episode 2, getting the orange chicken. But anyway, when we were talking, it was getting a little bit silly, and I was really pleased with how the show's been going and the results and all the views, 70 views and plus. And I explained how I went to the store, and normally Elizabeth's always with us, but sometimes she doesn't want to go into the store, and so one of us stays with her. Anyway, I just decided I would go in anyway, and it was just a couple of days ago. I hadn't talked about it to my wife, so I told my wife, and she thought I was so irresponsible. And then we were talking about my video and how I went to Starbucks, and she thought I was going to leave Elizabeth in Starbucks, and I was just making YouTube videos while Elizabeth's just abandoned in the car, and it really went off the rails a little bit in her understanding. But sometimes it does. You get excited, or what I say, kind of filled with a little bit of glee. Like you're it's sort of an irresponsible kind of gleeful mood or spirit, very childish in many ways, and that's kind of what I wanted to talk about right now. Later on, when I cleared it up, that I wasn't shooting videos, looking in my camera and getting out of the car and leaving Elizabeth with the door open and running into the store or anything. Once we cleared that up, I still obviously need to make sure I don't just leave her in the car, but take her with me, unless one of us is in the car, which is what we normally do. But then it got me thinking about how there really is a difference between decisions you make and things that you do that head towards happiness, right? The title of this episode, the title of this show, doing the things you're supposed to, right? You're supposed to be doing things that make you happy, that make your family happy. Lindsay Robinson, oh my lord, that's awesome. Guys, Lindsay and I used to go to school together when we were like 13, 14. God, it's so good to see you. I always love seeing your horse riding pictures and your kids, and beautiful island. Oh my word, that's spectacular scenery. And Rachel, hey Rachel, good to see you too. Yeah, so going back to the episode, I realized that there really is this difference. I thought about this a lot, sort of in my mid-20s. The difference between being like an excitable, gleeful, irresponsible person making ridiculously stupid decisions, which is very teenager-ish. And Lindsay Robinson will remember days where I was a bit irresponsible, driving around with Pallister and Richard Merrick in cars and doing all kinds of stupid, irresponsible stuff, putting it in drive and then running around and changing seats. I'm glad I saw you, because there's some really irresponsible, stupid choices one can make. And then on the other side, there's happiness, right? There's actual genuine happiness. Decisions you make, going to Disneyland, or putting extra time, closing a deal that means that it's possible for you to, you get a bonus and pay off some bills, or have the money to stay at the Grand Californian, for example, at Disneyland. Now that makes you happy. That's a reward, and you're making a decision based on the long-term pleasure, the long-term gain. But also, you decide to go, I remember you get all happy and you think, oh, let's go to, when we lived in Northern California, there was this sort of natural Swedish sauna, spring water place, all wood. They have these hot tubs and they're private, right? So you get to go in and you have your own little huge wooden tub for an hour and you get to hang out and chat and talk as, a group. Which is really fun, and those sorts of things are decisions you make to do things that you get excited about, right? But it's excitement that leads towards happiness, as opposed to making decisions that you might get excited or excitable, but they're irresponsible and gleeful decisions. Guys, let me know if this makes sense. Post below. Tell me if you see that difference, if you felt it, you experienced it too, that things can go off the rails where it's irresponsibility and glee, right? Or it's excited, making a decision that is towards, making you happy, having a good time and enjoying your life. I know that sometimes people make decisions about their life. Hey, Kisa is one of the most awesome people in the world. She teaches at my daughter's school. Well, she'll be back to teaching. She's been off for a few months. She knows everything and anything there is to know on the subject of autism and special education. She's phenomenal. We've been to her house. We've had such a good time with you. And I've got to set up the kids messenger on Elizabeth's iPad. I haven't done that yet, but so that your daughter and her can talk and her friends. So I should do that. I'll do that when I get home. But yeah, I was just bringing up a subject where sometimes I know people make irresponsible choices with regards sales or purchases. And again, it's one of those things like marketing is about obviously getting people to buy your products and services. But if it's a decision they make that they later feel bad about, or that makes them feel like, they made a terrible mistake, or they really aren't going to use it, it's not for them. Well, that's not marketing. That's manipulating somebody into doing something that's not for the long-term good. And you can see these salespeople. I've seen salespeople. I've done sales. I got promoted because I was so good at it. But to vice president of a whole division, business development, new sales and recoveries. But that's because we took care of people. I took care of people. And I brought them to the point where they made a decision that was building their company, expanding their company, and they went on, to double their business in a year or two and never look back, right? But I know even I've gotten into that mood where you get excited and the dopamine kicks in and you're getting super pumped and let's make the decision, let's do this, and it's not the right time for them. There's some preparations they need to make. There's other things that need to be addressed in the whole process, which is obviously what you do when you're packaging and putting things together, you're working out the logistics. But that's that kind of, when somebody can get you into the mentality, or when you get into the mentality of got to get the sale, got to close it, got to do it, yeah, let's do this, screw the constraints, who cares, don't talk to your wife, let's just, what are the numbers, give me the digits, that's irresponsibility. That's going down that road where you maybe even getting the person that you're talking to excited and in a state of glee, and their eyes are dilated. Studies have been done on this. This is one of the reasons why I'm talking about it, is that they can see that when people make it as a decision in those kind of states, they very often, more often than not, regret it, right? So this happiness v glee thing, I think, is deeper and more broader, not just in decisions in life, but yeah, with work, with the way you go about doing your business. So in the long run, happiness v glee, make decisions towards happiness. Don't get carried away and behaving in a state of glee and irresponsibility. That's today's episode. Doing the things that you're supposed to, make decisions that are towards your good, towards happiness, towards your success, towards pleasure, absolutely, but not but the result in long-term benefits, long-term happiness, and not making decisions that are irresponsible, that result in, you know, arguments with your wife, or that leave you, you know, in the long term down, depressed, sad, and, you know, questioning your decision making process. All right, guys, that's it from me. Thanks for watching. This show's been doing really well. This is my 3rd episode, but as I said, I've been getting like 70 views per episode and rising. It's good to talk to you guys. Talk to me back. Text me, message me, DM me. I really want to be in touch with you. I just crossed for myself 1,000 friends on Facebook, and I want to be more in touch with you. I really did I made a decision at the beginning of the year to be more in connection with my friends, with my connections, to make sure I go through my phone book and text people, make sure their phone's still working, email them, email you guys, and be in better connection with you all. And, you know, at the beginning of the year, like most New Year's resolutions, it was slow, but I've been doing it more and more, getting more and more in touch with you, going through my phone book. But that's a conversation for another time. Again, doing the things that you should be. In fact, that should be tomorrow's episode. So if I do an episode tomorrow or the next day, I'll see you then, and it'll be about that. We'll talk about that then. Bye, guys. Love you. All the best.